Speaking of 11.0.5, I've gone through all the features I know of the patch. We've talked a lot about 11.0.5 and everything that's coming. There are tons of changes to classes, to dungeons, to time walking, to PvP, to loot, to warbands, all this stuff going on. I've talked a lot about it, but I may have missed a few things. So here are 25 changes, quality of life, warband, classes, and much more coming in 11.0.5. Let's see what Bellular has found about this patch.
Welcome back. Today you're going to learn all about patch 11.0.5. Yes, it adds the 20th anniversary celebration, but not just that. There's much more. There are class changes, quality of life changes, some really nice feature changes to warbands, big time walking changes, and a bunch of other things. So sit back, relax, and learn all about it. On the topic of story, nothing's been firmly announced, but this patch should actually have non-anniversary event story content. That's because we can just look at the roadmap where it does say quest and story, and we can remember that Blizzard have done...
Oh, true. Yeah, he's right. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, we could get some more within story updates and quest lines to complete. That would be great.
A far better job recently of keeping quest content off the public test realm. What has been added, though, and has been seen on the PTR, are new NPC conversations in Dornegal. They have humongous implications. I'm not going to give you a spoiler here, but the implications are massive for patch 11.1's location and theme, just like the sheer gains you'll get from today's sponsor. Who keep me protected online, and as threats get more significant, that actually matters. I've got good passwords and all that, but the alarming number of, say, data leaks means that more personal info like phone numbers, addresses, email is just out there, and then it gets harvested without our consent by data brokers who then
Clarm, you might be right.
And at best,
they meant both, and that's probably what it is. Good morning. What's up, Brent?
Bellular warcraft. They keep me safe, and will keep you safe with 60% off an annual plan with my code. Now, here's what they do, right? They scan the data brokers, identify who has your info, and then they get it taken down. That's because we have the legal right to request the takedown, but doing it manually is just not feasible. And then even worse, your data can just be harvested again. And that's why it's good that Incogni rescans regularly to keep your data down. So here's a look at my dashboard. You can see 95 sent, 12 in progress, 86 completed, and I'm on 20 suppression lists. That's 20 brokers who will not collect my info again. More recently, right, they took me down from Definitive Healthcare, Ekata, and Ad Element, none of whom I want to be anywhere near. And the best thing is you can benefit from their services today with 60% off the annual plan at incogni.com/Bellular Warcraft.
Use it and get your email off the hub list forever. There you go.
Class options. They can be Hunter, Rogue, Priest, Mage, Warrior, and Warlock, but they're a little bit different to their Evoker brethren. So Evokers were designed around a powerful set of Drakthir racials that, if they were just in any class, would be a bit broken. Those will remain, but the non-Evoker Drakthir do have some changes. So Tail Swipe, the knock-up, is Evoker only, while the knockback, Wing Buffet, has got a 3-minute cooldown. They also get a unique skywriting talent called Squadron that lets you formation fly in a V shape with other Drakthir, which is pretty cool. Our new non-Evoker Drakthir also start at level 10 in the Forbidden Reach, but they don't do the Evoker starting experience because that was part of the Dragonflight story. Instead, they have a quick story of newly awakened Creshes, and after a brief chat with Emberthal, you're sent to Stormwind or Orgrimmar, and you're pointed towards...
All right, so all of a sudden you become a regular class, you know, doing your regular things. That's fine. So I want to ask you your thoughts on something. What are your thoughts on getting a piece of loot for each row of vault? The RNG is the same, but instead of picking one of 9 pieces, you pick one piece from raid section, one from the dungeon section, and one from the delve section. You would then get 2 tokens for each row that you don't select for a max of 6 tokens if you pick nothing. Nezar, I mean, I would love that, but I don't think they're going to do it because that would just exponentially increase gear progression in the game. Right? It would just make everybody gear out much quicker. So I'd probably, that would give you so much loot. You'd be getting 3 times the loot, essentially, that we currently get, which would mean everybody would gear out 3 times faster. Assuming some, no bad RNG happens, which could happen too. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice thought, but gear progression, it would shorten seasons and progression and everything else by a ton. But I don't think they'd ever do something like that. But interesting thought.
me time to do your leveling. Now, these evokers do get a unique combat option. They can fully stay in their visage form. That's pretty neat for some people for roleplay and actually getting to see the gear that your character is wearing.
Yeah,
That's
that's a
kinda
game changer for Moonguard. I'll have to log back in there and see what's going
cool.
on. Yeah.
Now, you do have the option to permanently be in your usual Drakthir form or to only be in your visage form when you're outside of combat. Finally, then, there are some really cool spell effects, especially Drakthir priests. You see, loads of animations had to be updated for these new options, but I think the ones that really stand out are the Priest's Dark Ascension.
Yeah, the wings look amazing.
They just look damn cool. As for the other class changes, it's always a little bit hard to talk about details and numbers in a video like this because things do change before they go live. What I can talk about is the things that people will see as a feature that they'll be excited about, which are the Dark Ranger rework for hunters and Ascendance form for shamans.
Yeah, very cool.
Dark Ranger forgoes the rubbish version of Black Arrow that we got in 11.0. Now, there's a new version of Black Arrow that replaces Killshot. The whole tree is different, and it's entirely themed around Sylvanas, as we saw her in the BF.
This could be one of the best DPS specs after 11.0.5 goes live, too. The changes are, there's a ton of them. This is a complete rework of this spec, even visually with the wings and everything. It's good. It's really cool. I think a lot of people are going to try this out.
Phase cinematic, which in short means it's great. You've got big Banshee tendrils, you've
Hunter
got the Banshee scream. The gameplay options are way better. There's fun new things like Shadow Dagger that throws out a bunch of daggers whenever you disengage that slow enemies, so that's pretty neat. It's essentially that fantasy pushed way further than it was before, so much so that I've leveled my hunter to 70 for it. Shamans also get a doubling down of their fantasy with the new Ascendance forms. They basically are like the Liver King injected himself with Storm, Earth, and Fire. They're really cool. Each one is colored based on your spec, so Elemental get the Fire version.
Yeah, these look great. I don't know if the Water version's always going to look female. It probably does. I doubt that this is going to take into, whether you're not you're female or male when you transform. I don't know, but this one's female. Clearly, these are males. The thing is, you get to have 3 different versions of this now. So you get the original, you get the new one that they first created with the bigger hair, and then you also get this one. You just have to use a glyph, basically, to decide which one you want to be, so that's pretty cool.
Enhancement gets air, and Resto, of course,
gets
water.
Raid,
There are male versions and female versions, plus what I'm just going to call...
so there's male and female for all of them. There you go. Sam, just let the video play and stop talking.
Big hair mode, which is kind of like a Super Saiyan troll doll, I guess. Now, you can select that by using the new Glyph of Energetic Ascendance, or you can go back to the old version by using the Glyph of Traditional Ascendance, both of which are sold at the Shaman class order hall from Legion. Beyond that, there are a bunch of lovely changes. It's too much for this video, and some things could actually change by the time they hit live. What I will say, though, is our hero talent and class change videos will be linked down below. And then finally, a small change that does scrub WoW clean of Shadowlands' Covenants. Patch 10.2.5 rethemed loads of Covenant abilities that still existed in class trees to basically fit the class fantasy, not the Covenant fantasy. And finally now, the icons have been updated to match that.
That's good.
Blackrock Depths is returning as an 8-boss raid. It technically is part of the event, but as far as the rest of the game is concerned, it's just a full regular raid, which is why I'm talking about it here. What Blizzard have done is they've remade Blackrock Depths for LFR normal and heroic modes, and not just by quickly scaling up the numbers. The mechanics have been heavily updated, as have visuals, and there's also a bunch of mini-bosses scattered around the place. Bosses from it drop their regular gear, but at item level equivalents to Naru Bar, so you can fully gear up your characters with this. It is new progression for your guild.
Yeah, the crazy thing is this is heroic level raid gear, and you're going to get to pick the slot that you get gear in too with some of the currency that's going to be dropping from this thing. So there's going to be some kind of coffer key thing that drops in this raid, and you can use them to purchase specific pieces of gear that will be dropping in this raid. So I've said it before, you need some bracers, you can get them. Heroic level raiding bracers. You need a helm, heroic level raid helm, convert it to tier through the catalyst. It's all going to be there for you. So this is really cool and a nice, kind of respecting your time kind of thing.
And best of all, boss kills here will still contribute to your Great Vault at their difficulty equivalent, so you don't feel like you're missing out on anything. LFR works via the group finder, and the entrance for normal and heroic is found at the anniversary grounds in Tanaris.
Yeah, I don't need a cape.
Even better, though, there's a gear token system for this one. Killing bosses and mini-bosses in the raid gives you relic coffer keys, right? And these keys can be used to purchase any
this is the
item
currency
from
I was
the
talking
raid
about.
just from vendors who are at the anniversary event. And per the current values, every 10 to
Oh, hell yeah,
13
we're
boss
doing this,
kills
DJ.
in a difficulty will earn enough to buy a bit of gear. Of course, this is not a replacement for regular gear drops, it's just existing to give you a bit of bad luck protection. And if you want a personal recommendation, this is a brilliant opportunity for your raid group to just hop onto a bunch of vaults and essentially get proper raid reprogress again. Pretty good bit of content. This is also an awesome patch for time walking. There's a whole new era being added, as well as big vendor updates and other rewards, plus a few other changes. First, classic time walking is being added as a new era, and the good news is, even though you may think of it as being something that's attached to the 20th anniversary event, it is actually there as an evergreen feature. There are 6 dungeons, both wings of Stratholme.
I can't wait to do these, man. The dungeons they picked, amazing, nostalgic, fun. And the way time walking is going to work completely is changing forever. The way it scales, no longer does the time walking dungeon, does it have you scale to the dungeon, but now the dungeon will scale to you. So that's like a complete reverse. It's a Chromie time walking feature we just talked about, and that's how that's going to work. And then the dungeons they picked. I mean, man, I can't wait to go back. Do Dead Mines again? Yes. Oh, man. Culling a Stratholme? I mean, come on. Iconic.
Wings of Dire Maul, as well as
Dire
Zul'Farrak
Maul,
and the Dead Mines. And best of all, these are in their original forms, not the Cataclysm revamp. And unlike the other time walking events, you can do these from level 10. Along with this, we get a new vendor, and it is way more stacked than we would expect from the previous time walking events. There are, of course, the usual big items like a Hippogriff mount, there's a Black Boar and a Grey Gorilla pet, and a Ravager toy. There are some neat consumables that are throwbacks. One of them just gets you completely drunk and turns every NPC into an ogre. There's the Savory Deviant Delight, of course, a food made very famous during Classic that turns you into either a pirate or a ninja for an hour. The Noggenfogger Elixir also is a returning Classic thing that gives you slow fall. Maybe you'll be a skeleton, maybe you'll just be small. And best of all, the Night Elf Mohawk Grenade makes its return from that legendary
Mohawk Grenade
campaign. The vendor, of course, sells loads of gear with old visuals. In this case, they're visuals from rare BOE items from Classic, and also some unique things like the very nostalgic Light Forged Blade, which I believe is no longer obtainable, as well as something a little bit new.
This
gear
is cool.
from the Season of Discovery.
How is this not a single-handed weapon? How is this a staff? I can't get over this. I wanted this for my Death Knight. It's a freaking scythe, damn it. It's literally one of the abilities I have procs a scythe. I want a scythe. And I haven't been able to get the one from the freaking, what's-his-name boss? Got from, oh man, what was it? Antorus? Yeah, final boss, hard mode, you can get the red scythe or the blue. I want a scythe, and I can't get this one. It's a fucking staff, of course. All the warlocks get the cool shit.
These cost 2,500 badges
Argus.
each, and they're basically
Antorus,
newly made models of like nice, high quality, but that are keeping with the classic style.
Yeah, these are
that's
from
really nice, and of course on top of
SOD.
that, there are also reputation badges. But that's not all. TBC and Wrath Time Walking are also seeing updates here, and they're pretty damn expensive ones, but that'll make sense soon. So Wrath gets 33 new items. There's a mount, a pet, a tabard, 5 transmog ensembles, and 25 weapons. The Burning Crusade vendor then sees similar. There's a carpet mount, transmog ensembles, and a load of weapons with 26 items in total, and also quite a bit of sticker shock, because the combined cost of just the new Wrath of the Lich King items is 56,120 time-warped badges. That will seem shocking given where previous numbers were, but remember, this is an evergreen edition. These vendors had not seen changes since June 2015, which was 9 years ago, and on top of that, earning badges is actually far faster now. So a character's first clear of a time-walking dungeon and raid and boss, those drop quest items that are worth 500 badges. Repeated completions of those quests, though, on your other characters earn 300 and 200 badges, and that means that we're coming out far ahead versus the past, because we can funnel all of these resources to a single character.
I was about to say, because of warbands now too, you can funnel all of your time warp badges to a single character, buy the mounts or the transmog, and then that is of course warband bound as well. So there's a lot of people are gonna have a lot more currency than they think they do. Currently looking at a single character, especially if they played across multiple characters for a long time, because of the warband features with currency transfer and transmog stuff,
allowing us to consolidate our badges and buy the expensive items. Finally then, you'll no longer scale down to the Time Walking Dungeons level. Instead, it will scale up to you. This is because they're now using the Chromie time scaling system rather than a separate system. Essentially, they'd rather not do 2 different scaling systems, and they say that this will help them maintain and tune Time Walking going forward. Patch 11.05 brings a massive transmog change. Whenever you do a quest, all appearances from non-cosmetic item rewards will be granted, regardless of if your class can choose them.
Crazy.
And it's also retroactive, which basically just means if you do a quest and there are rewards from that quest, you will get all of them into
I'm
your
interested to see what he says about this now, because is it going to apply to all items ever gotten, or is it only going to apply to the items that currently in your bag or inventory?
appearances. You won't have to redo quests on different characters to earn things, and that means you can expect a surge of progression whenever you log in. There's also another nice change where you can collect class-restricted appearances while you're playing other classes, and that includes any that you've currently got in your bags and your bank. Those are our systemic changes, and of course there are...
So I think that shit does apply retroactively. I think only the class restricted stuff might be. Maybe I misread it when I was reading it earlier, but maybe the class restricted stuff is the only thing that has to be in your inventory, and then the other shit is going to apply to every single quest you ever did. The servers are going to crash. They're going to crash. I'm just saying it. Right now, they're going to be down for a little while. Maintenance will be extended. Prepare yourselves.
Those are our systemic changes, and of course there are loads of transmogs to get with the event, but there is another thing coming in this patch, which is the Dragonflight cosmetic ensembles for PvP. Every armor set and weapon that was purchased for Honor or Conquest in the expansion is included here, even the elite PvP sets, but the elite ones are only purchasable if you actually attained the necessary rating. The reason why this matters is that PvP often has a more cool, menacing coloration of that season's tier set, so these look fantastic and are totally worth earning. To earn them, all you're going to need is Marks of Honor, and you'll get those from doing any current PvP, and they are account-wide. If you're somebody who really does not want to step into PvP, what you can do is wait for the Comp Stomp Brawl. It's a pretty fast way to farm these out because you're essentially fighting NPCs. Next, let's talk about quality of life changes, and the first one will save a lot of headaches. The drop-down for your add-ons now defaults to this character instead of all characters, which is very nice. In the past, you could end up forgetting to change that. You'd then set up a bunch of add-ons, and then find that they're enabled on all of your characters. And the only thing you could do is to log into those characters and turn the add-ons off.
That's nice, especially if you play alts, you got character or class-specific add-ons that you only use when you're playing a certain class. So this will allow you to basically pick for each individual character which add-ons are toggled on and off. That's nice.
It's an absolute pain in the ass, and it's no longer going to happen. Next then, warband changes. First, currency transfer is being upgraded. You can now display all transferable currencies, not just the one that your character has.
That's right.
And that actually matters. Previously, you could not transfer a currency to a character who did not already have some of that currency, which was an annoying oversight, one that is now fixed. And on top of that, there's a handy max button, so you don't need to type in the number manually. Then the Warband Bank is much upgraded. Reagents that are stored inside it can be used to fill all types of crafting orders, which is massive. So once you, if you're a crafter, set this up and consolidate all of your resources into that Warband Bank, it's just going to be a massive quality of life improvement. You won't have to worry about running between bag and banks and all of that stuff. The banks had another lovely tweak as well. Now, the deposit all Warbound items button will be able to deposit refundable items, and you can actually dismiss the pop-up forever, which does mean...
That's good, yeah. The don't show it again. That's a nice little quality of life thing. Deposit all Warband items. Obviously, for crafting, it's a huge thing to not have to go to your Warband bank, pick up shit, and then go craft. It's literally, if you have it in your bank, it's available to slot into your crafting orders right away. So that's pretty nice too. Yeah, and if you only play one character like me, then none of this matters. Yeah, a lot of this doesn't matter for me because I don't play alts. I am Samicus and Samicus is I. But I could see, how it's nice for other people.
Whenever you're clearing your bags, you'll have less clicking, less prompts to clear. It'll just be lots faster. Then the Warband login screen is seeing some nice refinements. There's a hide UI button now, even though that is something you could previously and currently achieve with the Alt-Z keybind. Character searching is also smarter, now checking realm name and spec. A small change, but a nice one for Altaholics, and if you are an Altaholic making a new character, rather than that character being shot to the very bottom of the list, they'll now default to any available featured spot, and if those are all full, then they'll just go to the top of the character list. So again, less clicking.
Nice.
There's also a few other nice additions. The UI now remembers if you've collapsed or expanded the character list, and Blizzard have added in new icons for mail, locked, and transfer in progress characters. A bit more tangible, though, is the Dark Iron Mole machine. It's been updated to have Kulturas, Zandalar, Dragonflight, and somehow it can even burrow its way into the Shadowlands. Arachnophobia now supports Bloodswarmers.
Lore-wise, that makes absolutely no sense because now these mole machines are essentially like trans-dimensional, right? They can cross realms and things like that. That makes no sense, but hey. Shadowlands Mole Machine, why not?
and mounts, and finally, we've got
What's up
new
over there?
high-res mouse cursor icons for the crosshairs, directions, innkeeper, repair, speak, stable, master, transmog, and
Oh, those look
vehicle.
cool.
That seems small, but it's really
Hey, that transmog thing looks cool. I like how it's fading in color. Yeah, these are little things, but the little things matter. Yeah, this is, I think the anvil looks much more pointy. That looks much more dangerous. All the mount thing with the little this is really cool. These are highly detailed. Obviously, with like, this game been out for 20 years. When it came out, fucking, what was the resolution of your average monitor? Like 720p didn't even exist when this game came out. So yeah, a lot of these icons show their age. So these are nice little changes.
really nice. These new icons are crispy, they're high res, and slowly but surely, the parts of World of Warcraft that just scream 2004 are
had those
being
big
replaced.
tube monitors,
Let's blast
man.
through the rest then. Earning gold in every single Khazalgar skywriting race now gives you the Khazalgar Racer title, and by the way, when you're doing that, you'll earn loads of resonance crystals. That's because every gold is 95 crystals, so if you do all of them, you'll get a total of 6,840 crystals.
Damn.
Then there are new battle pet achievements, which do have battle pets for rewards, and each are for collecting different sets of pets and
cool.
hitting a pet total. Okay, let's talk about the trading post. So the trading post has had its big restock. I'll give you a few of the highlights here. There are new transmog ensembles themed around Sylvanas and
man.
Varian. They've been
This one's on Logarsh, man. When Varian was a gladiator fighting in the orc arenas, this is what he looked like. This is badass. I have to get this transmog. I don't usually buy them, but I'm buying this
in
one.
mind, and they are real big, especially the Sylvanas one. There are loads of different customization options. There's also earmuffs, a pretty neat looking fox mount, a Legion themed motorbike, a selection of Winter's Veil weaponry, new butterfly wings, along with many more cowls and shoulder capes, which, by the way, you should totally get and use to make a bit more of a lo-fi mog. I've been really enjoying it lately. So expect these to be peppered in as the months go on, and to tide you
great
over,
stuff.
well, here's the latest on the big buffs to Mythic Plus and the FPS changes that just happened. You may be able to recover so much frame rate. Check it out next.
Nice. Yeah, great video. Tons of changes. Just besides the event, I mean, this patch is huge. And he didn't even get into, like, he got into a little bit of class changes, but there are hundreds of class updates and changes coming into the game for this patch. It's going to, basically DPS charts are going to completely flip. Some classes that were at the bottom are not going to be S tier DPS. There's going to be tons of changes coming with this patch, and I'm excited for it. And it's coming soon, man. October 22nd should be just around the corner.